Hello there and welcome to the second tutorial in the GameMaker series. In this tutorial we will be implementing enemies and points for our maze game. As you can see here, I've already prepared two sprites, one called sprite enemy and one called sprite point. They both have a width and a height of 20. So the first thing we're going to do is to make the enemy. The enemy is going to bounce around in a direction, and if the player touches it, the room will restart and the player has to go through the maze again. So we'll create a new object. Let's call it object enemy. We'll link the enemy sprite and we'll add a create event. Now you might wonder, what is a create event? Well, that is an event that runs when the object is created. So when this object is created, the create event will run. The create event is run when the room is created or when the room starts, because all the objects will be created in the beginning of the room. So if you want to make the enemy move in the beginning of the room, we need to add it in the create event. Or you could also go to others and say room start, but then it will only run when the room starts. So if we choose to create an enemy later, after the room has started, it will not move. So we use the create event. I'm sorry it did not. I don't hope I confused you there. If I did, then just stick with the create event, okay? So you see here, we need to use the move thing here again, because the good part of having the directions here is that you can select multiple directions. So we can say up and down and give it a speed of 2. Then it will randomly select one of the arrows that you've picked. So we can go ahead and place some enemies in our room. Object enemy. There and there, and let's say that's fine. We don't want to make it too hard. And as you see, they move, but they don't bounce back yet, and that's what we're going to do now. So we go back to our object enemy here. We add a collision event with the wall. So this event is being run when the enemy touches the wall. If you go to the move section here, you'll see that under the jump section there is this thing here called bounce, and that's what we're going to use. So here's the options for the bounce action, and you can choose if you want it precisely or not precisely. In this case we do not want it precisely, since we're using a box and only going up and down. You can use it precisely if you're, for example, using a ball and you have gravity or something like that, but we're not going to do that anyway, so not precisely. Against solid objects, because we checked the wall as being solid. As you can see here, solid. Okay, so when we run the game, these things here go up and down. So they move now. The next thing that we're going to do is that when you touch the enemies, the room needs to restart. So when the player touches the enemy, we restart the room. We go to the object player, add a collision event with the enemy, and as you remember we did when the player touches the goal, it goes to the next room. We found that in main 1 here. During the room sections here, there's also a function that can restart the room, and that's the one we're going to use here. So you see, when the player touches the enemy, the room restarts and you have to do it over again. Alright, that was the enemy. Now to the points. So we'll create a new object called object coin, link the sprite, and that's it. We don't want the coin to do anything yet. Let's place some coins in the room. So there, and there, and there, 3 coins. Okay, so what we want the coin to do is that the player can collect them, and when the player touches the coin, it gives the player a point and the coin destroys itself. So we go to the player, select collision with the coin, and then you need to gain a point. You go to the score tab here, And then you see this one. This one is the one you control the score with so far. So you write here how many points you wanted to give, and I say 1 point. And you need to add it relative to your score, so that it will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on when you get a coin, instead of just going 1, 1, 1, 1, which is what would happen if we did not pick the relative button. So when you have the relative button checked, it adds it to the current score. And then we need to destroy the coin. We go back here, select the trash can here, and we select the other object. Here you can select what the object, the action applies to. You can select the object itself. You can select like another object, the other object to be more accurate. In this case, it's the coin. Or you can pick a object from the list. In this case, we're going to do it with the coin we are touching. So let's run the game and see what happens. So the coins disappears when we touch them, but we can't see our score. That's because we need to add a draw event. Here, draw graphic user interface. This is used for text and for drawing things like score. So you go back, drawing things like user interface and so on. So you go back here, select the draw score thing here, and you can choose where your score is from. So this is just a coordinate system. For example, if I say 32, 32, then it will be placed 32 and 32 away from the top left corner. The align in GameMaker is top left. So you just say score, and then we'll place a score. Okay? So let's see how that looks. So you see the score thing is over here, and when you collect the coins, the score will increase. So now you can implement coins and enemies, and you can go ahead and make the enemies behave in different ways, move in different ways, give many points. I want to give you a challenge. You should make an enemy that can move in these directions. That bumps around in these directions. Alright? So when you've done that, and you have 2 enemies, then you can move on to the next video. Alright? So thanks for watching. See you in the next episode.